get ready to go to college, he said, oh, you should major in engineering. Because I was in this electronics class, and he was like, doesn't matter what you do in life, engineering degree, you can always get a job doing something. So I was like, okay, you know.
He was right.
For me personally, for the person who I am, I probably should have done either business or been like a therapist or something, or career counselor. Those are like the jobs that I've always wished I had. And one day I feel like I will do counseling, because I do like to help people make their better, right? But I decided to go with the engineering. So I applied. Well, I'm trying to think about this.
Keep going.
So I went, because my brother went to college. He knew what he wanted to do from when he was a kid, and he went on, you know, he knew everything. So for me, I was trying to figure all that out. So I decided to go to college because I saw my parents work a lot. My dad worked 6 days a week. My mom worked, 6-7 days a week. And I didn't want that for my life. So I'm like, I'm going to college, and I got to major in something. I had never even been I'd never been to college at all, ever really, until I went on a college tour.
You never went to visit any colleges at all before that?
No, because that's not like, my brother and I were the first to go to college, and he knew where he wanted to go, and he only went 45 minutes away.
Oh, at Emory-Riddle. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
So when I went, I was like, oh, so this lady, I don't know how I found out about it, but some lady had this trip to visit schools, and I knew I wanted to go away from home. Like, I knew I wanted to get away from home. I wanted to go to Rutgers. Don't ask me why I wanted to go to Rutgers. Just because I liked it.
Rutgers in New York?
Yeah, I think it's in New Jersey. I just liked Rutgers. I don't know if it was the name or whatever. Yeah, but I couldn't go there. So
that's right.
I decided to go as far away from home as I could, that I could still drive. So I went on this school tour, and we went to FAMU and Florida A&M University, Rattlers. And that's where I decided that's where I was going to college, because I could get away from home, and it was in state, so it wasn't as expensive. And I went there, I ain't gonna lie, because FAMU is a HBCU. And when I went there, because where I grew up in my neighborhood, there's probably 200-300 houses in the neighborhood. There's only like 2 black families in my whole neighborhood. So I've always went to predominantly white schools. Most of the kids I know were always white kids. So when I went to this school and I showed up and all I saw were black people, my life changed forever. I said, I am going to this school. This is where I'm going. There was no doubt in my mind that FAMU was the place for me.
What, because you saw black people?
Yes, Ian, there were black people everywhere. Because for me...
Oh, we didn't grow up with a lot of black people. So.
No, and I do...
I see what you mean.
I do, people like to be around people who are like them. That's just a natural thing, human nature. People stick to people who are like them. It doesn't mean you shouldn't branch out from people who are different from you, but people tend to stick with who are similar. And for me, always being at the schools and then being a super minority, in third grade, I think me and this one other girl were the only black people in the whole third grade.
Yeah.
And the whole school may have had 10 people. This is in the 80s now.
I can feel you on that. Yeah.
Right. So I was just like, whoa, black people, I'm going. So I went to FAM and I had the best college. I did. Hey, man, I had the best experience. I'm forever grateful that I went there. I'm glad that I had that experience, because some people, this is a topic we need to talk about one day on HBCUs, but some people say, well, it's not the real world. But because I had already lived in the real world for so long, going to an HBCU for me was a great way to get out of the real world and being able to be around people who are like me and understand me. Even though the interesting part about that, though, which we need to have an HBCU show, something about colleges.
HBCU.
But the interesting part about that, and I'm going to get back to my part about talking about what I'm doing, where I got there, but was to see all the different kinds of black people. Everyone just seems like, oh, you're a black person and you're just black. No. There's the bougie black people, the ghetto black people, the rich black people, the poor black people, the West Coast black people, the northern black people,
you know what?
The southern black people. I mean, there's so many, and everyone, even though we're all black and we're all different shades.
We're different.
Our experiences were all so different.
Oh yeah.
And me, that was eye opening. I never thought about it.
I never thought about that.
Oh yeah.
Until you mentioned that now.
Oh yeah.
And because I went to Florida State, best school ever, but you're right. You don't think about that till you go to a college and see different black people that we really are different. Yeah,
we're all black, but we're
black,
all
but we're
different. We all have all these different experiences.
I never thought about that till you said that just now.
Because they were like, back then when we went, there were like famous people's kids at FAM. They were, people like, some of my friends, they couldn't even afford a car like when we first got there because they didn't have much,
And you don't think about that though when you go to college. You think everybody should have a car when they go to college.
Right, no, but not because everyone has these different experiences.
God, I never thought about that since you mentioned that right now.
So I did go to the engineering school. I did graduate with my my bachelor's in electrical engineering. I went to the FSU College of Engineering, which we did share with FSU as a FAMU student, and that was interesting. I was not a good student. Not that I did not have the abilities. I had the abilities.
You were a brilliant student. You were just lazy.
But I did not. Because I never wanted to go to college. I only went because I didn't want to be poor.
When Natalie wanted to study something and pass a test, when she really studied and put her mind to it, she'd study and get good grades. But she was lazy. She was one of the smartest people I met at the engineering school. Even though she thinks she wasn't, she was. She was. But
I just never applied. I ain't gonna lie. I was always trying to get somebody's homework. I was that student all day. I ain't had my homework done.
Yep.
Cramming for tests.
Yep.
But I did have a job. I worked like 20 something hours a week. I was not just sitting around on my butt, so I was that student. So, but the crazy part is, this is what I tell people. Yes, you want to try your best when you go to college. You want to do well. But even if you don't, it doesn't mean life is over for you.
Correct.
Get yourself other skills. Get soft skills. How to talk to people, emotional intelligence, how to read people, all these other things like soft business skills.
Don't colleges teach that though to
No, they
students,
don't teach you that stuff.
What are they? So they just send them out to the world with nothing?
You learn how to study and how to think, I guess, but you don't always get the soft skills.
What about those
That's
degrees?
why internships are so important. That's why internships are very... And the one thing I will tell everybody to do, even if you have to stay an extra year, an extra semester in college, trying to, this doesn't apply to every degree, but for the most part, it's good, especially if you have a technical degree. Don't graduate without an internship of some type because it will hurt you with trying to get jobs. Unless you know somebody who's going to hook you up when you graduate, like just get an internship of any type.
I agree.
Or
I agree with that.
Even if you have a job, have like a job where you're working 20, 30 hours a week. But don't just go to college, don't have no job, don't get an internship and then graduate and then try to look for a job because it's going to be unless you got the hookup somewhere, it's going to be really hard to get a job.
That's a good advice for people out there listening because I'm telling you, it's tough. It's tough to try to find a job from scratch.
Yeah, it is. And then everybody wants you to have some kind of internship because they know that because when you have an internship, you learn a lot of these soft skills. You see, you have experiences with how to deal with people, how to deal with things. So when you come to the workplace, finally, you're not totally fresh. And that's why it's important to have an internship because you learn a lot just working on a job. So I had a co-op that I did with the power company, and I also I did a co-op before I graduated. But I did graduate, not the best grades. Everybody was shocked when I told them I had a job when we graduated. How the hell did people were like, oh, they're like, oh, what are you doing now? Because I was a horrible student, so everyone's thinking like, Natalie ain't got nothing. So they would ask me, oh, what are you gonna do?
You, see?
And then, I was judged. I knew people always judged me because I didn't do my schoolwork.
They thought they were better than you,
and that's fine. But I knew people judged me all the time because I didn't do my schoolwork. That I was dumb or that I was unintelligent.
Those bougie black people, is that what you're talking about?
Just people in general. This is FSU and FAMU students.
Oh yeah.
So
I got
it was
too.
mixed.
I got people made fun. Ian, all you do is play all the time. You don't take your work seriously. I'm like, all right, I guess I need to take my
but let me help you finish mine so you can talk about your experience. So I graduated with my not so great degree and I was able to get a job based on because I had I had back then great interview skills. It's been years since I've had an interview, but honing your interview skills while you're in college, super, super important. Learning how to talk to people and just navigate the world. That's a very important thing and tell stories. Situation, action, result when you have interviews. So for me, my gift for gab is what got me to my next level. Even though my grades sucked, I could talk to people.
Oh, she does.
And that's what got me my first job.
100%.
It got me my first job. I worked at the phone company and I've pretty much been in the phone industry ever since, doing different kinds of engineering roles. And that's pretty much, making sure. Yeah. And to get to the point now where actually I've just started my own business, I guess, doing what I do in the phone business.
Yeah.
I got to that point, I tell my nieces all the time, just hard work. I busted my butt all the time and tried to always have good results. Just hard work and perseverance and learning how to get along with other people. People skills is the number one skill with the job. You may not be the smartest person in the room, but if you know how to work with others, like, it'll get you way far.
I agree with that 100%.
Now, looking back, if I could go back again and do it differently, what would I do? Personally, for me, my dad was a general contractor, and I wish that I had learned what my dad could do.
Man, you would be talking to me right now on this podcast.
And I wish I did not have the fear to take risks when I was younger. I was not a risk taker.
That's right.
And I have not lifetime harm myself, but I have set myself back a lot of years because I was never a risk taker or a doer. I need to, if you're not a doer, find ways to, if you have ideas, to do things, even if you have to work with other people to get them done, but try to accomplish your goals. Like, that's the one thing I did not do that I'm like, dang it, if I only had, so many things that I told Ian that I wanted to do, but I didn't do out of fear or lack of knowledge.
Chick-fil-A franchise.
Many things. Remember that property I wanted to buy some land back in the day, and I didn't, and I let everyone talk me out of buying that land. And I've had a lot of really good ideas that I just did not.
I've told you this forever. You're smart, you're a brilliant person, and you just have to be confident in your ideas and go with them. If you do that, you'll fail at some, but you're going to be successful at a lot of them, but you just can't be scared.
Yes. So what is that? Fear, false evidence appearing real.
Oh, damn. Yes. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I've heard that several times.
That from?
I heard it in my real estate stuff. People have been saying that. But it's true. And there's all these things that I thought that, I can't do that, or I can't do this. And where I would be now if I did not have that fear, or if I had more confidence in myself and my abilities. It's just now at 40 something that I have true confidence in more confidence in myself. So, any young person out there listening, fear, false evidence appearing real. You can't live in fear. You have to, especially when you're young, try things. Because if you fail, you do have time to fix your failures. But if you don't even try, then you never know. And then all you have to look back on is regret at what could have been. I look back and my life could have been so much better, financially, if I had taken advantage of or paid attention to things. Remember we talked about back in the day, Ian and I have been customers of Amazon. We did not realize this since, what does it say, 2000?
No, this was since college.
Yeah, we were.
Since 99.
When Amazon was first started, we bought a zip drive.
Zip drive, we used to order books.
Yeah,
zip drives and books.
And we've always looked at, we should invest in things that we use.
What was the stock at the time? I think it was I don't think it was even $5
I don't
at
even
the time.
know, but
and you said, we should invest in Amazon stock. I'm like, okay,
but then we never did. And now we look back what the heck were we thinking?
If we would have bought 100 shares of Amazon stock back in the day, we wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Right. And we used them, and we were like, Amazon. Then with that fear, I don't know if it's going to do. But we used it, and we would purchase things all the time.
Yep.
All the time.
All the time. We didn't even think about it. I'm like,
yeah,
damn.
so that's something else too. But definitely for anyone out there listening, or if you have kids you can talk to or guide and mentor, try to find things that you truly enjoy, and then try to figure out how to make those things into your career. And college is not the only way. There really isn't. And I know, college is a great thing, but it's not for everybody. And I wish, I'm glad I went to college. I'm glad I had that experience. But I think maybe after I had done some things a little bit differently. But that's how I got to where I am today. Just a lot of hard work, and not giving up, not quitting. If I interviewed for a job and I didn't get it, I never was like, oh my God, my life is over. I was like, you know what? One door closes, another door will open. Yep. And a bigger, better is always coming. And that's always been true thus far in my life. So when, just know when disappointment strikes, it's not the end of the world. You had this job in mind that you wanted, and you interviewed and you didn't get it. I can give an example of one. I interviewed for actually two different jobs. I interviewed for Sun Microsystems, which is not even around anymore.
That's right.
And I interviewed for WorldCom.
That's right.
And Sun Microsystems, I didn't even have the GPA for the interview, but I got in, and I me and my gift for gab, I wowed the guy, and I got my second interview. Second interview, I bombed it so bad. I was like, dang. I was like, well, whatever. I didn't make it, but at least I got past the first interview. That was huge for me, because I had I did not have a good GPA at all. Yeah. It was a 3.5 was the requirement. I had a 2.8, 2.9.
I had a lower GPA than you when I was in college.
But I got through. So, but then also I interviewed for WorldCom, and they were like, oh, you had a great interview, but at this time we're not going to extend an offer to you. Lo and behold, right after that, there was some huge decline in the economy. This is 2001.
That's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
I think it was September 11th. It was September 11th happened. Yes, because I graduated in 2001.
Oh yeah.
September 11th happened.
Oh yeah, that's right. That caused the whole downturn recession.
Right, and the whole economy went down. Right, and both of those companies went out of business.
That's right.